And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Happy Wednesday to all those who celebrate. How's it going over there, Ben? Doing all right?
Doing well. How are you?
You're adjusting your microphone there.
Didn't have a cover on my mic.
I see. I'm just disappointed in the Czech Republic. That's
we'll
all.
see. This is probably, they're playing better than I expected. Nice they were up 2-1, but yeah, it's 2-2. Though I will admit, I just want to see USA-Canada, and I don't want to see it in the bronze medal game.
I don't want to see Canada at all. In fact, I'm debating turning it off now.
Okay, because it's 2-2. You're afraid they're going to win, and it's going to be too painful to watch.
I'm not cheering for Canada.
They are really teeing off right now on the Czech. So we'll see.
Yeah. Ben, I had
still 2-2, but it's been a lot of defense from the Czech lately.
I say Wednesday to all those who celebrate because today the Granite School District went back to school, and it was funny. I got a complaint this morning that really frustrated me. And to the point where I said, I absolutely don't want to hear it in a very firm voice. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
My 8-year-old, who did not go to school all of last week and has had 2 days off this week, said, I don't want to go to school. And I said, nope, I do not want to hear that. Absolutely not. Not this morning. You can complain about other things. You cannot complain about going to school.
After
not
11 days off?
Yeah.
For them? Yeah.
What'd they have yesterday off for?
I don't know.
Teacher preparation day. So it was like mid-quarter. So they had President's Day, and then they have like a day for teacher prep to come back. And they had last Friday off as well, but Jake was out of town. So it's been a 5-day weekend for the kids of the Granite School District. Yeah, I get it.
Didn't want to hear that complaint. You can complain about breakfast, complain about whatever, but you're going to go to school and you're going to like it. They had last Friday off too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you guys picked a good week to go out of town. I mean, you could have just gone later last week. Missed the All-Star game.
She could have missed no school.
Yeah, could have missed no school.
The whole cruise in, no problem.
Yeah, they had 5 days off. Nice.
For them.
Yeah, it was great for them.
For them. Oh, man. All right. Well, you doing all right? Your kids are back in school, so
they're back today as well.
That makes you happy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because they're getting educated, of course.
I'm pro-school. They're not, but I am. My son's certainly not, but yeah.
Christian's going to raise his kid anti-school.
Yeah, homeschool.
No, not just homeschool, but no, like roaming the neighborhood wild.
Stick kids. I call those kids stick kids. The kid that you see walking around the street, and for some reason they always have a stick in their hand. And they're just like hitting fences or like hitting the tops of flowers off. They're just like stick kids. I don't know where their parents are. And I know what type of people they grow into, but it's not their fault because they're stick kids, because their parents gave them a stick instead of an education. So keep an eye on stick kids. They're around.
Yeah, that's the direction Christian's going to go.
Yeah. Well, Christian was probably a stick kid.
They changed the world.
Hope they do something.
Who was it? What president carry a big stick when that old Teddy Roosevelt?
Teddy, yeah. Different type of stick.
Well,
those kids don't speak softly. They are loud and they carry sticks. It's a bad combo.
These just feral kids that
roam
the neighborhood.
Feral,
do you have a lot of those?
Children. I've just seen enough of them in my life to know who they are. Yeah. I mean,
Sounds
they're
like
easy to identify.
To
yeah, they're easy to identify. They have huge sticks. It's like a branch of some kind or some pole that they have found. It's like, where did you get that and why do you have it? And who or what are you going to hit next?
We don't have many feral children in my neighborhood, although
Well, that's the thing. It's not an income related thing. There are wealthy stick kids. There are middle class stick kids. Stick kids can come out of anywhere.
We do have a family that lives around the corner, and I love this. This is funny. They have a baby, 2-year-old, whatever, still takes a nap, and the older sister is instructed to leave the house for the duration of the nap, which is funny. So she'll come knock on our door and say hi. Yeah,
she's the loud kid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you got to be out.
Yeah, you can't
of the structure of the home during the nap.
Okay, I like that.
But she doesn't often have a stick, I've found.
Okay.
So I don't
Different
know if
animal altogether.
I don't know if she qualifies.
Different creature.
For what you're getting to there. But yeah, Christian, no education, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. I got a while to think about it.
Yeah, they'll teach themselves.
Yeah, right. I wonder what stick kids were like as babies.
I'd like to think everyone starts from square one.
They're
equally.
the kids that are in the jumper 24/7.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, they're in the
all energy
the
all the time.
bouncing thing 24/7. Yeah, right. They don't get out to eat. They don't they sleep in there. The whole thing.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm getting at?
Uh-huh.
All right. So there you go, Christian. There's your parenting
How to identify an early stick kid.
lesson for the day.
Yeah.
Ben, it is I go out of town and you get the biggest news week of the year.
Uh-huh.
This week, total desert.
A little bit of a desert.
I mean, BYU Arizona is a fun matchup and probably the biggest story
Yeah, for sure.
of the day, but it's still regular season college basketball, which
I also don't think
is less than compelling in my opinion.
I'm not sure I'd even qualify this as like a measuring stick game for BYU. This is it's one of the best teams in college basketball. They were the best team until the last week when they've lost a couple of times now. Back-to-back losses.
Well, they've got injuries, right? They've got 2 key injuries. They're beat up too.
And the nice thing is, you don't actually have to face this team in the first or second round of the NCAA tournament. This is not who BYU, likely, barring an absolute collapse down the stretch. I still think BYU is probably looking at a 4 or a 5 seed. It seems like that's where a lot of the bracketology has them. Meaning, you're not running into these teams until you get to the Elite 8 or the Sweet 16. So your first weekend, at least, you're probably not having to deal too much with the elite teams. So the measuring stick games for BYU are not Arizona. I think Iowa State, they still have to play coming up maybe next.
Their schedule is brutal.
Yeah. But it's going to be some of these
Texas
more,
Tech still too.
These middle-tier teams that I think BYU is going to have to make sure that they measure up well against. And then maybe we reset our expectations a little bit going into the Big 12 tournament or through the Big 12 tournament of what should be expected for BYU to have a quote-unquote successful run.
Yeah, I think both Arizona and BYU are both trying to, I don't know, what's the metaphor, steady the ship?
Yeah.
So I don't think this game actually tells a lot about either team other than it's going to be a process to figure out how they're going to proceed and win basketball games, which is fascinating, certainly in BYU's case. I think they're more than capable of it because college basketball in general is about top-end talent, and BYU's got really good players still at the top of their roster.
I like their schedule the rest of the way, in all honesty, and it's brutal, no question about it. But, you go Arizona tonight. You go Saturday at home against Iowa State, which is, again, just very tough. These 3 games in the middle before they close the season at Texas Tech, who's the top 15 team in the country, they're home against Central Florida next Tuesday. They're at West Virginia and at Cincinnati, which are very much middle-class Big 12 teams. Let me see how you do against those teams. Those are still borderline or likely conference tournament teams, or not conference tournament, NCAA tournament teams. How do you play against them? Because that might be a better read for what kind of a run you can make. Well,
Texas Tech is not quite as formidable, unfortunately, because of the injury to JT Toppin.
Yeah.
Last night against Arizona State. So that obviously is going to severely impact them. I have not. Have you, Christian, seen the specifics on that injury yet? But it looked serious.
Yeah. It said serious leg injury. It's the last I've seen from USA Today.
So we will not. I would guess by that be seeing him for the rest of the year, unfortunately, which is terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, BYU has some winnable games. It's hard. They're going to have to figure it out. Nobody's going to. That's what kind of I was trying to get at yesterday is, in the grand scheme of things, nobody is going to adjust anything or feel bad for you, or it is going to be what it is. You can talk to Tim Lacombe about what it was like to go into the NCAA tournament without Brandon Davies, and it was a daunting task, but they still figured out a way to get to the Sweet 16, and there's always the what if, but that's nothing. What if is worth nothing. You get as far as you're going to get. And BYU still has the opportunity, I think, to win a couple of games in the NCAA tournament, depending on matchups and all that sort of thing, which makes that tournament wild, but got to get there first.
I'm really curious how we're going to reflect on AJ Dybantsa's season. And now that can still be determined. If he pushes them to the Final Four, it's, the best of both worlds. But AJ has already locked up a top 3 draft pick. He's had a fabulous season statistically, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 53% from the floor, 36% from 3. defense has been left a lot, I think, on the floor. He could have been better on that side of the floor, and we'll see if he picks that up late in the season when it really starts to matter because, as we've said a lot, the regular season of college basketball really doesn't matter to most players, and when you're going to be a top likely 2, potentially number 1, and at worst top 3 overall pick, playing defense in November and December is not necessarily anybody's highest priority. So I'll be curious how we review and remember AJ Dybantsa's season because statistically it's been everything you've wanted. Attention-wise, BYU's been on TV a lot. They maybe don't have these signature wins that some fans had hoped for. Maybe on the road at Baylor has been their best so far. But we'll see, and there's obviously room to pick some of those up still. But he's done everything that was expected. Can you do more than that and make it truly, one of the more memorable seasons in BYU history? Certainly the most memorable since Jimmer.
I think he'll be remembered as a great player.
Yeah,
regardless.
absolutely. Yeah, no question. He's punched that ticket. He probably punched that ticket before he stepped on the floor.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess it's all gravy, honestly. I mean, especially now that you have a little adversity. I mean, it's the possibility for a great story. But it could be a letdown. Is that what I mean? If they lose first round of the tournament, is somehow he going to be viewed as a disappointment?
I don't think so.
I don't either. Is that what you were alluding to?
No, honestly, I'm curious. BYU has a weird relationship with the NBA in general. Most of its best players historically have been jokes in the NBA or busts. Sean Bradley had a great NBA career, but was a bit of a joke. He was the guy who got dunked on a lot, and that's not his fault. Again, he played for a decade plus and made $80 million, however much he made. Rafa Araujo was a huge bust. Jimmer is one of the great busts of all time. There are just not a lot of, Kyle Collinsworth played a little while, but they don't have this great run of NBA players. So AJ is going to punch that ticket and have success there. Utah has a lot of very good NBA players historically. It's kind of the only thing they've been able to hang their hat on over the last 20 years. The best thing that's happened since Andrew Bogut, and Andrew Bogut was the number 1 overall pick, but the best thing has been that Kuzma made it and Pirtle made it and DeLon Wright made it, and they've had some success there. Very little actually on the court. BYU hasn't needed that as much, but they would like it, and AJ's going to be a huge name in the NBA for a long time. I don't know if he's Andrew Wiggins. I don't know if he's Pascal Siakam. I don't know if he's, a superstar. I don't know if he's Kevin Durant. We will have to see. He's still got to write that story. But I'll be curious how that impacts how we view his time at BYU.
I don't know if NBA,
because that paints a lot.
I don't think NBA legacy really means anything. I mean, why did he pick BYU? The rules have changed, so it's a different world now. So
absolutely.
If you're telling me that BYU back in the day when they weren't cheating, and not that they are now, but they certainly weren't then, wasn't getting top-end talent, you don't say, to come to a Mormon school in Provo?
Right.
What a shock. And now the rules are different, so they're getting different players. AJ Dybantsa doesn't even consider BYU in 1985 or 1988 or 1990. So I honestly don't think one has to do with the other. Andrew Bogut was the number 1 pick in 2004, has nothing to do with Jakob Pirtle in the mid-teens. And what happened to the gap between then? It just doesn't – I don't think it's connected. I don't think – Bronco Mendenhall forever downplayed the NFL. He said, you're not coming to BYU. That's not the priority or whatever. And then everybody said he had this great awakening with Ziggy Ansah. Well, Ziggy Ansah didn't beget a bunch of Fred Warners.
Sure, of course, no, it did
Bronco
not.
just changed his messaging to, yes, getting you into the NFL is a priority. It wasn't, they're not related, in my opinion. I don't think AJ Dybantsa's success is going to lead to BYU automatically getting the next great recruit. I don't think, a lot of people sold the Kentucky thing. Like, you come to Kentucky,
right, exactly.
look at John Calipari's record. John Calipari was just buying all of the best players. It wasn't some NBA legacy that Kentucky had. He just bought all the best players.
But they did get that reputation, whether it was real or not. They did have that reputation.
Then there were plenty of Kentucky Wildcats that came into the NBA and were hot garbage.
There were.
See Enes Kanter.
Sure.
Just as many as they were good. I mean, the Jazz fell for it by drafting Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles, just because he went to Kentucky, was not that.
Absolutely.
So I don't buy into that. Mike Doliak's success in the NBA had nothing to do with Andrew Bogut's. Andrew Bogut did not come to Utah for Mike Doliak. It's not they're not linked. Now, if you're trying to tell me that Utah had its best teams when it found NBA players, I would say, wow, that's shocking. But it's not related to the other versions of it. BYU couldn't get AJ Dybantsa. That wasn't an option. Now the rules are totally different. So why would Mike Smith's performance in the NBA have anything to do with with Richie Saunders?
I do think BYU is trying to change that reputation as far as having NBA guys, hence going and investing in Yegor Dioman and then going out and getting AJ Dybantsa. They're going to have back-to-back lottery picks for the first time, in my understanding, in their history.
So they went and got a great player? I mean, I don't think of course they wanted Yegor Dioman because they had a connect in Russia that had an NBA guy, which NBA guy just means really great player.
I'm with you. No, I am totally with you on that front, that on its face by itself, an NBA player doesn't link to the next NBA player, but there are people who do want to build that recognition. There are people who want to build that reputation. I mean, that is what Kentucky wanted. What John Calipari would sell was, if you come play for me, you will go to the NBA. And he was right. Trey Lyles went to the NBA because he went to Kentucky. He would not have been an NBA player, at least not a lottery pick, most likely, had he gone to VCU or something like that.
But, okay, ignore the...
Like that?
Ignore the Wizard of Oz facade that is John Calipari, who's just a huge phony. That didn't exist. He was selling his message. He was selling his thing. My value in this whole thing is I will get you ready for the NBA. You didn't have anything to do with, I shouldn't say anything.
Sure.
But you're recruit, like Nerlens Noel was going to go to the NBA.
You're proving exactly my point. You're proving exactly my point, which was AJ was an NBA player before he ever stepped on the floor at BYU. So how do we actually reflect on his time? Because being a top 3 pick is not necessarily a reflection of what BYU did to AJ.
I totally agree.
In the slightest. So that's what I'm curious about. When I'm saying how are we going to remember him versus a player like Richie Saunders, which is just a terrible example now because he tore up his knee and we don't know what his future looks like. But Richie was headed towards an NBA future because of his development at BYU over 2 different coaches. And I think it was going to be celebrated as like a great success. I'm curious how AJ is owned by BYU.
The same way Utah owns Tom Chambers.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how successful Tom Chambers was at Utah?
No, or
neither do I.
Expected to be
but
before he got there.
Every Ute fan was watching the Phoenix Suns in the 90s and goes, oh, that Tom Chambers went to Utah. Honestly, unless he goes to the Final Four, wins a title, like who is that heavy-set point guard for UConn? Khalid Al-Amin, remember that guy? That guy went nowhere fast. That guy is still a legend at UConn, above a bunch of NBA guys at UConn, because winning at that level is a different level. Mike Doliak is never buying lunch on at the Marriott Park Hotel up there. You know what I mean? That's a different conversation.
It is.
But if you're saying he gets the Sweet 16 or worse, he'll be remembered like that. He'll go to the NBA, have success, and every BYU fan will go, that's a Cougar right there.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that's really interesting. We've never had a player in our state like AJ Dybantsa. Kentucky is so used to players of that ilk. They are so used to players who are NBA players before they ever step on the floor, and they're expected to be the number 1 overall pick. Anthony Davis didn't have to do anything. John Wall maybe a little bit, but their run of number 1 overall picks is just part of their reputation. So how do we look at BYU historically and AJ Dybantsa historically? Because even with Utah, that's never been the case. Utah has never had an NBA guy, and I will say in my lifetime, so this goes back to 1986, or let's start from the Final 4 years and on, that we knew was an NBA player the day they got there. That was not the case for Keith Van Horn or Alex Jensen or Hanno Metalano, didn't play a whole lot, or Mike Doliak or Andrew Bogut or Jakob Poeltl or DeLon Wright or Kyle Kuzma. I mean, those guys were not NBA players when they committed to Utah. And the same can be said for BYU, maybe with the exception of Sean Bradley, where everybody knew he was going to be an NBA player. Nobody knew Jimmer was going to be an NBA guy. Nobody knew Hafa Arujo was going to be an NBA guy. Everybody knew AJ was going to be an NBA player. So what type of credit does BYU feel for it? Not get for it, but feel for it. I'll be curious how he's viewed.
Well, they're going to sell their program.
Yeah, absolutely.
The same way Kentucky did. But it doesn't make it real.
No, it's real.
Especially in basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you. You're totally right on the Wizard of Oz thing. The Wizard of Oz thing is 100% legit. It's the all-knowing head that just says things that aren't true. There's no real backing to it. That's 100%, 90% of sports. 100%, 90%. That's 90% of sports in general, is people saying things and taking credit for things that, hey, Strawberry, go hit that home run. Like, that's exactly what we're talking about. Hey, Dybantsa, go average 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Like that, yeah, of course, that's part of it. His success was cemented before he got to BYU. Now what can he do to actually elevate it or change the conversation?
Here's how they get the next AJ Dybantsa. They call the alarm guy or whoever the big billionaire donor is who's up next, and you say, go get me a player.
Uh-huh.
It has nothing to do with AJ Dybantsa's success. In fact, and man, I don't mean to, but Yegor Dioman's success in the NBA is actually because he's doing the opposite of what he did at BYU.
It's kind of funny. He has credited a lot for playing at BYU. He has talked about it a lot, but he is doing the exact opposite with the Nets than he did at BYU.
Which was absolutely true about Kyle Kuzma. And I had this opinion back when he went to the league that he was being misused by Larry Kraskowiak, and that was true.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure Larry to this day will go, I developed that guy. Did you?
Yeah, right.
So I don't buy into any of that. Football might be a little different because you have to wait 3 years. Basketball, I mean, go back to when they were taking teenagers and guys right out of high school. I mean, they identified these guys early. Kevin Garnett was going to be an all-star NBA player, whether he went to college or not. Yeah. And sometimes that doesn't mean that they always get it right. You know, there were plenty of high school players that were taken that were complete busts and were drummed out of basketball in a sense. And that's why they changed to the 1-year rule to begin with. Yeah. Was because of that. But it doesn't mean that Kentucky developed all those one-and-done guys. They just were smart enough to buy the best players. Period. End of story. And BYU can do that going forward, apparently. Especially now that the guy who said we will
not be outbid.
No. But the guy who pushed back against that, the one who said, no, it means more, and then tried to stuff that back in the bottle. Isn't he now an apostle, I believe?
Is he?
So maybe that voice in the room is not there anymore, and they can just outbid it.
They outbid everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were doing anyways.
So maybe and I mean this totally in jest, the naming of the apostle was actually a basketball strategy.
Get him out of the way. We got to get him out of the room.
He's pushing back too much. We've got a big advantage here. We got to play this thing. Again, totally in jest. But that's how BYU gets the next NBA player.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's not because of what AJ does on the floor.
Nor Jaeger, Dioman, no any of that. Because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So next time John Calipari tells you that I've got the secret sauce, just kind of laugh and say, okay, pal. All right. More next. Top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I want to remind you of our friends at University of Utah Health. The University of Utah Health, hope is in our DNA. Learn more at uvuhealth.org. It is time for the top 3 stories of the day. KSLSports.com, brought to you by our friends at J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, our guy Ben Anderson has an article up on KSLSports.com. How will the Jazz handle their rotation to close the season?
This was a mailbag question I got yesterday on my podcast, and it's an interesting one. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. not being out there makes it a lot easier. You know, essentially the Jazz have the same rotation that they had now pre-trade deadline, but instead of Kyle Anderson and Walt Clayton, they have Vince Williams Jr. and they have John Conchar, who are better players than Walt Clayton and Kyle Anderson were, but you don't have to play them. You know, they are deep rotation players that never have to see the floor if you don't want them to.
I guess that's an impossible question to answer because how much are they going to be allowed to get away with?
That's the huge question. And
I mean, could they shut Lowry down tomorrow? Because they should do that. And they should probably shut Keontae down tomorrow if they can.
They can.
And they probably should just take whatever roster JP's calling it for the Stars and then just put that as their roster. But I don't know if they're going to be allowed to get away with that, honestly. So how do you answer that question?
We may not know until the first week of the second half of the season, starting post-All-Star break, if the NBA continues to dole out fines or if they were showing that, hey, this was just a flash in the pan. We're going to fine a couple of teams just to make a show before the All-Star break. So when I get asked about it, I can say, look, I fined teams $600,000 total, and then they move on, business as usual.
Because for really 2 seasons now, the Jazz have used multiple different strategies to get cute with it and have now been fined for those strategies multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, they were just making up stuff and sitting out players. And then they were like, well, that's not a good look, so you should just dress them and not play them. And then they did that and got fined. So what are they going to be allowed to, like, what cute strategy are they going to be able to employ to do that? Or are they going to be arm twisted into playing all of their guys? It could be anywhere in between. Does Adam Silver go back into his crypt and stop paying attention to the Jazz rotations?
Sunlight.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely do. No,
So
that's what the
are they
entire
allowed
mailbag
to?
was. Yeah.
Now they're being forced to play their player. Like, D-League, think about this. D-League is interfering with the coach's rotations.
Uh-huh.
I believe you quite literally have written about that too.
Yes.
Adam Silver said as much, like in his rambling non-answer, he said he is going to be watching closely. So does that mean he is watching with a stopwatch the Jazz dang rotations? Because if that's the case, what are they going to do? Tell Lowry to go out there and loaf it? I don't know.
So my first thought was you're probably not going to see a whole lot of Yusuf Nurkic on the floor. And that's not because Yusuf Nurkic is prime Shaquille O'Neal, but I do think right now he probably makes it more likely that you win a game than Kyle Filipowski.
Ben, the Jazz right now have how many wins? Let me bring this up just to make sure
18,
I'm
I
accurate.
think.
18 wins.
Yeah.
The Jazz can only win like 4 more games.
4 or 5 more games.
That's it. So simply benching Yusuf Nurkic
No, by itself is not enough.
I mean, so how cute are they going to, because they have to go to drastic circumstances to only win 3 or 4 more games for the rest of the season. I mean, we could go through the schedule. There's all sorts of dog teams trying to lose at the end of the season. Who knows who's trying to win and who's trying to lose because they're moving around for playoff position. Like, you're going to accidentally win 6 games, 7 games, unless you go to
Really drastic measures.
circumstances. So what are they going to be allowed to get away with? So we can get into the, well, Yusuf Nurkic goes down to 18 minutes instead of whatever he's playing, but that's not going to do it. They can't have Lowry play games. They can't have Keontae George play games. What are they going to get? What are they going to be allowed with? They tried playing Lowry 3 quarters. They tried. I mean,
I think that's the next step. I think Nurk is going to play very little, if at all, in all honesty. And then you're going to have Lowry Markkanen, his last 5 games, he's been under 27 minutes a game. He's going to be playing that, but they're going to spread it out. They're going to do 4 6-minute stretches for him. The first 6 minutes of the game, maybe the last 6 minutes of the first half, the first 6 minutes of the third quarter, and the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. That would be my guess. That's as much as you're going to see Lowry, meaning they basically do what they did against Miami and Orlando, giving him a full 12 minutes off, but instead of it being the fourth quarter, it'll be the middle of the third to the middle of the fourth. And the Jazz have to hope that in that stretch, Oscar Tshiebwe, Kyle Filipowski, Blake Hinson, who are going to be on the floor a lot, have built an 18-point deficit that Lowry cannot overcome by being on the floor for the final 6 minutes of the game. And then the next step is probably to bench Keontae. As crazy as that sounds, that's probably what you're going to see. You're going to see fewer and fewer minutes from Keontae George, who is dealing with a pair of ankle injuries, but he doesn't have to play. He is not bound to the player participation policy because he's not a former All-Star, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of him either. And that's going to be the stretch. And then you have to hope that Isaiah Collier isn't good enough to beat the New Orleans Pelicans 2 out of 3 times. And Memphis twice. You have to hope that the roster you put out there is not going to win games. And I will say this, historically, over the last 3 seasons, when Will Hardy has needed to lose games, the Jazz have figured out how to lose games. And I shouldn't pin that on Will Hardy. That's not fair to a coach. But when the Jazz have wanted to tank post trade deadline, especially the first 2 years, 2022-23 and 23-24, the Jazz found a way to do it.
Did you see the news today that Kyrie Irving is out for the rest of the year?
Kyrie's done for the year.
Why isn't Adam Silver forcing Kyrie Irving to get back from injury? Why isn't he looking at his watch and go, hey, I've seen people come back from injury faster than that, so why are you shutting it down for the rest of the year? Like, they've created such a mess for themselves, and the Jazz, unfortunately, are right at the epicenter of it because other teams are allowed to boot games harder, and somehow they're under the microscope. Listen to the, and I'm not coming at you, Ben, but listen to the hairs you just had to split.
Yeah, absolutely.
To justify. Listen to the cute game you just created in your brain as a way to figure out how the Jazz can be bad enough by fitting into these parameters. But the problem is those parameters don't exist.
It's all fake.
It's all as soon as Lowry doesn't finish a game, Adam Silver apparently could come out and find him.
Ivica
And
Zubac.
justify it by going, well, he's your best player. Why isn't he on the floor at the end of the game?
Ivica Zubac, who has a real argument with Pascal Siakam to be the best player on the Indiana Pacers, played 15 out of 16 games with the Clippers before the trade deadline. 15 out of 16. Obviously available. Now, he's not an all-star, so he does not he's not bound by the player participation policy either, but gets traded to the Pacers, has an ankle injury, goes over the all-star break. They returned to practice yesterday. Rick Carlisle's asked about it, and he says, looks like he's going to be out for a while. They just say, of course, he's lying. Again, this is the problem with the NBA. I know it when I see it. Here it is, Adam.
Here it is.
Here it is,
well,
Commissioner. Here it is. Here's the tanking. This is bad. This is conduct detrimental to the NBA. Are you going to actually enforce it evenly? And the answer is, of course they're not. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to pick on the Jazz specifically as much as they just wanted to prove a point, and the Jazz were right there and ripe for the taking. But if you're going to say, I know it when I see it, you're lying because we all see it.
So was everybody else. And, Ben, the thing is, they weren't fined the second time for the player participation policy,
Correct.
which is the dumbest thing ever to begin with. They weren't fined for that.
Right.
Lowry played.
Right.
He played.
Exactly right. So
They were fined for an arbitrary non-violation of the rules just because Adam Silver had heartburn that day?
Didn't like the bad press. Yep. Didn't like the bad press that Bobby Marks and Brian Windhorst ran with.
To try and split the hairs by, play him this time and that time and this time is futile.
You're right.
It's
I'm applying more nuance than anybody else is.
You, and I like this about you, you believe in justice. You believe that this is about justice. You believe, and I tend to believe this too. It's why I get so mad when you bend the rules and What You Got Wednesday is because does nobody respect the rules anymore? But this isn't about rules. They don't care.
You're right. It's arbitrary.
Totally arbitrary.
Yeah.
So who's to say what you can and can't do?
Yeah, that's fair.
Crazy. Next.
Number 2, Team USA Hockey taking Sweden in the quarterfinal round today here in a few hours.
And they are trying to figure out if Canada is going to make it out of this round. Right now they are playing Czechia, and it's still tied 2-2 midway through the third period. So this one's coming down to the wire. Did I see Sidney Crosby limping off the ice earlier? He left the game. Now, Sidney is not their best player anymore, but he is still obviously a huge, huge piece of their roster. So Canada already a little bit shorthanded in a close game late here, but this would be a pretty monumental upset if this wraps up. But yeah, Sweden's good. Sweden's always a good hockey team, especially at the international level. Well, that's where they play. That's why they're Team Sweden. We'll see how they compete tonight.
Whatever. I hope they all lose.
All of them, the Swedes and the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm rooting against everybody.
Who are you rooting for? Italy?
Nobody.
I think they're out.
I'm sitting here with a fractured arm, Christian. I'm not rooting
Germany
for
lost. J.J. Paterka's out today. They got eliminated.
I'm not rooting for anyone's success.
I am of Swedish heritage. I'm also of American heritage, U.S. heritage. So I would prefer the U.S. win today. But if Sweden wins, that will be my dog the rest of the way. He'll be my.
You're also Canadian.
I don't have any Canadian in me. I've adopted that. Yeah.
What is your policy? And I'm actually curious about this. For the what do they call the Russian athletes now? Like
AIN, something like that. What is it?
Something.
I've seen their flag. Yeah.
They're because the Russians aren't allowed to compete, but as a team, but their athletes are. Like how does this make any sense to anyone?
AIN, independent neutral athletes. I know that's not what AIN says, but that's athletes.
But they're just Russian athletes because of doping. The Russian team.
Is that what it is?
Banned.
The federation. Oh, it's not because of Putin's politics in the world globally?
No, it's all doping. We'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I've seen Icarus. Right? That's
the
documentary. Okay, I thought it was about their.
I don't think
recent
so.
global
No,
decisions.
I think it's about doping.
Well, then if it was about that they have a leader who is out of favor in the world right now, I would have sympathy for the athletes because that's not their fault. You know, you were born in the country you're born in. If it's about historically the federation has cheated and they're punishing the athletes there, I would have more respect.
Like, do you?
So I'm maybe a little less into the AIN athletes at the moment.
Like, do you think that figure skater pulled the needle out of her arm because all of a sudden the graphic is different on NBC?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That just didn't make sense to me.
I think that's totally fair. I didn't even put that together. So
Next.
Thank you.
Number 3, BYU set for a big rematch tonight at Arizona.
Yep. Any win against a ranked opponent right now would be huge for BYU, and we will see how they carry over a little bit after beating Baylor and then Colorado in back-to-back games. Colorado was very tough. That was a tough game because they lost Richie Saunders, but I do think it's a different conversation. The team that beat Baylor is no longer the team BYU puts on the floor. So.
Are they going to guard? I mean, honestly, if the reason BYU lost before Richie Saunders got hurt is because they don't guard anybody.
Now, Richie doesn't guard. So if somebody else can guard, maybe that will not help them, not be better, but maybe they will play a little better defense.
If you want to ask me how, honestly, we have to boil it down to something of how BYU possibly goes on as a basketball program without Richie Saunders, it's you guard.
Yeah.
If the team scores 15 fewer points that night, then you have a better chance to win without somebody that scores 15 points.
Well, the tool is somebody replaces Richie Saunders who plays better defense, and then AJ decides to start carrying on that end of the floor. And I'm actually not going to hold his lackadaisical effort on defense through the first 3 months of the season or 4 months of the season. I'm not going to say I'm not going to hold it against him, but I'm not going to say that means he can't play defense the rest of the year because, again, we see a lot of bad NBA players who don't play any defense during the regular season, and then suddenly you get to the playoffs and it's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know Tyrese Halliburton actually could play defense or Bojan Bogdanovic actually cared about defense. Well, they don't for 80 games a year, but in the playoffs it matters, and so they try. So we'll see if AJ starts to lock up a little bit more.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. Mitch Harper, top of the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk to him more about this matchup. It's all straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ben, my Ice Warriors of the Czech Republic just scored.
The Czech Republic, or the Czechia Dreamcoats, are up 3-2.
I'm sticking with Czech Republic. If I can go either way, I just heard about this Czechia thing yesterday.
Yeah.
I think this may be a fad. I'm sticking with the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Like when people tried to tell me Qatar was pronounced Qatar, and then I watched the World Cup, and the people from Qatar themselves are pronouncing it Qatar. I'm sticking
with it.
I'm sticking with Czech Republic.
That's a good idea.
I think Czechia is just people messing with me.
All right.
But anyway, they're up 1.
3-2, 7 minutes left, but Canada is now going to be absolutely on fire for the next 7 minutes. So we'll see what it looks like.
I'm glad you said absolutely and not literally, because nobody is aflame.
No, they're not. Hopefully.
It's ice hockey.
It's ice hockey.
Nobody has combusted out there
We should have more
yet.
fire in our sports. Not enough fire just in kind of casual sports.
Like what sport would you like to introduce this element to? Golf? Like there's a forest fire and you still have to play?
Yeah, exactly right. That's probably the one
That's
you
the
have
plot of Happy Gilmore 2, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst movie ever made?
Like, we got rid of the sand trap. There's just fires all over now.
I think
we do a lot with water and ice here.
I think I'd just take the penalty. I mean,
Out of bounds.
just take the stroke. Not going in there after it. No thanks. How would you do it to basketball? Set the ball on fire?
Well, there was that
Because
moment
Kevin
earlier-
Durant would still hog it. Yeah.
There's that moment earlier this year where the fireworks above the Jazz's basket kept going off throughout the second quarter. That was really funny. That was the best moment of the year by far for me, and maybe in some time.
Did you guys see the popcorn cart catch fire it was Georgia basketball?
No.
Like one of the popcorn carts in the concession stand just went up in flames.
Known to kill.
Okay, what went up in flames, or
No,
like
look it
it just started smoking or something?
No, it was like in flames. I think they stopped the game for a little bit.
Okay.
It was last week. It was really recent.
Can you imagine? Why'd you get fired from your last job? Oh, I was running a popcorn cart and burned it right to the ground.
Lit it on fire.
They had to stop the game.
Oh, you're right. That is a real fire. It's like a real oil fire. They spilled oil in the bottom of the heater or whatever it is. And
Don't put water on it.
yeah, don't put water on it. You got to suffocate that thing.
So you think a popcorn cart would come equipped with a fire extinguisher? No.
You would hope so.
Or
Yeah,
at
that's
least
pretty
there
good.
would be a fire extinguisher handy somewhere in a basketball stadium.
This was in Oklahoma, but it was against Georgia.
Way to
Apologies
go.
the good people of Georgia.
Way to go. One
clowns in
popcorn
Oklahoma.
cart down.
Yeah.
All right. It is Wednesday. That means a win ticket Wednesday. And this is a big one this week. I mean, every week's great. But be caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE, and you can win a pair of tickets to go see Post Malone with special guests Jelly Roll and Carter Faith at Rice-Eccles Stadium July 28th. Tickets on sale at livenation.com. 801-575-ZONE. Is Jelly Roll the one who's quite thin now?
He is. He's lost a lot of weight.
You know what? I think if you become famous being heavy, you just should be forced to stay that way.
Should he wear a fat suit?
I don't know, but now it just...
Should he go Shallow Hal's route?
It just kind of looks weird. I mean, I'm sure healthier, and it's better in a variety of ways, but I don't know.
I'm with you.
Like if John Candy were thin?
Yeah. Skinny Candy.
It's
kind of your thing.
Just kind of not the same
Now
guy.
he killed
Yeah.
John, so...
Right, which I'm saying it's better. I don't know how you would enforce this, but it is strange. Like Fat Joe, not so fat anymore. Now he just looks weird.
But we let people go the other direction.
Like skinny people who become heavy? Like who?
Marlon Brando.
Maybe the exception that proves the rule.
Orson Welles got pretty heavy late in his life, right?
Yeah, nobody ever heard of him after that one movie.
Citizen Kane?
Yeah. Anybody else?
I mean, I want someone to get, like, big.
Like Jim Morrison was kind of fat at the end of his life,
No,
but that was
I don't
more
mean,
sad.
like, he looks... I want somebody who's, like, 4 bills. You know, I want somebody who goes big.
Like,
Like,
tell me that.
I'm adopting the identity of the heavy guy now.
Like, tell me that Jonah Hill doesn't look weird.
He's gone weird. His whole thing is weird. So, yeah.
I mean, that dude looks weird. Mm-hmm. I mean, Meghan Trainor wrote a song called "All About That Bass." Now
And she's not
very
talking
thin.
about bass lines.
No.
Okay.
In fact, she called them skinny B words,
Yeah. I know.
and now she's quite thin.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ben. I mean, you're crazy thin.
You know what? We let a lot of NBA players put on weight post-career, which is funny. A lot of football players get a lot thinner.
Do we let them?
Well, they do it. You know, no one's policing it.
And then everybody clowns Charles Barkley every time he's on TV.
That's right. You're right.
And to shame him into being an Ozempic guy now.
Is he an Ozempic guy?
I think so.
That would make sense. All right.
Oh, we shamed Oprah?
Yes, we did. Wrongly.
That's what I'm getting at. Although they should be forced to stay in the manner in which they got famous, like Kiss.
Okay.
Always has to wear the
your
makeup.
stamp on the world. You stay there.
Yeah, you have to. Frozen in time, right there.
Okay.
All right, stay
Possible
tuned.
standard.
Mitch Harper is going to join us next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar Insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join the world-famous Scott Gerard from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown. Coming up today, 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Daly, home of the Forever Warranty. BYU's got a big one tonight, taking on Arizona. He covers the Cougs for KSLSports.com. He's our buddy Mitch Harper. What's going on, Mitch?
Hey, guys, happy to be on.
Mitch, what are you looking for? There's 6 games left in the regular season for BYU. Obviously, the big question is what do they do without Richie Saunders? But is there something specific you're looking for, or what will, I guess, determine success as they now start to begin to prepare for the postseason?
How Kevin Young reinvents this team without Richie. You know, that's one of the strengths of Kevin Young with his background in the G League. He's used to having roster adjustments in season, and that's one of the strengths of what he does. So how he can really reinvent this team will be something of interest to me starting tonight. And I think that, you look at Kennard Davis, transfer from Southern Illinois. He was a all-conference performer in the Missouri Valley last year, and he was looked upon coming into the season, as a impact 3-and-D type of player, and we just haven't seen it much. Now I think he can be potentially that third guy, and I think that for Kennard Davis, he was struggling with playing alongside 3 stars. Now maybe he can elevate himself into being that third reliable guy. And I'm curious to see what he can become with this team. He's going to be someone that needs to take on a big workload without Richie Saunders now with this team.
Everybody's focused on how to make up for Richie and his production and offense, and I get all that. I think BYU's issue has been this entire season is can they guard? And I think that's the way they make up for Richie is, you hold the teams under 90 points for crying out loud. Is this team capable of taking it to the next level on that side of the ball?
I think so. I think they can. I mean, they haven't shown signs of that. I think one of the big issues has been Bakeda hasn't been at full strength. He's been dealing with a hand injury, and that's, a key piece to BYU's defensive efforts. Coming into the Big 12 play, they were a top 20 defense in a lot of adjusted efficiency metrics nationally. They've plummeted now to 50. They continue to give up big point totals, as you noted, and a lot of it's inside the arc where they're getting to the rim, these teams. So I think that BYU has the ability and the potential to do that. But replacing Saunders and his motor on both ends and his ability to rebound, too, will be tough. BYU is one of the top rebounding teams in the Big 12, and, you lose about 6 rebounds a game with Saunders. So it'll be tough. I think this team's capable, but I think Kevin Young BYU teams are always going to be wired on the offensive end. And, they can outshoot teams and they can outscore. It'll be interesting tonight against Arizona, who, they don't shoot threes. They have only made, I think, 57 threes during Big 12 play. BYU, in the last meeting against Arizona, hit 13 threes, yet it still wasn't enough. If BYU can, hit the 3 at a high clip and kind of limit Burries and Jaden Bradley from getting downhill and getting to the rim with such ease, maybe BYU can hang around and have a shot to be in the mix here for this game against Arizona.
Texas Tech is beat up now. BYU is beat up now. Arizona's always dealing with some issues recently. It seems like they've lost back-to-back games. Does the Big 12 feel wide open? Does it feel like it's there for the taking, or do you still think there's a favorite?
It's still Houston's league, and, Houston's going to have Arizona on Saturday. I know they lost to Iowa State and Hilton Coliseum this past Monday, but it's Houston's league. I mean, they've only lost 6 games since they joined the conference back in 2023 in this league. They're the 2-time champ, and I don't know if they're better this year because some of the front court guys last year were so key, but they got higher end pros this year on Houston with Kingston Flemings leading the way. So I would say Houston's still the favorite with Arizona going into Houston this Saturday. I'd still go with them as the favorite. Tonight for Arizona, this is a big game because, they're trying to, position themselves to be in that, 1 seed line still when the early selection bracket gets revealed on Saturday morning, the top 16 seeds. Arizona's still wanting to stay on that 1 seed line, and with Houston coming up on Saturday for them, this is a really important game for an Arizona team that, as you know, is beaten up. But I'd still go with Houston as the favorite right now.
Do you think the Big 12 is the best conference in the country this year?
No question. They were 14-7 against the SEC in non-conference play this year. The top end of the Big 12 is the best league in the country. There's no doubt about it. You could have, 5 teams that are in the Final Four, or not Final Four, 5 teams that are threats to get to the Final Four, rather. The Big 12 is really good. I think that from, 8 to 16, it's a little bit weaker this year, but still there's talent across each of these teams. BYU, if they lose these 2 games this week against Arizona and Iowa State, they might be, playing on the first day of the Big 12 tournament, and BYU's got, a number 1 pick potentially. So the depth of this league is really good this year, and you're seeing the focus of not the focus, but the investment into these programs, both from the transfer portal, but also maintaining high school recruiting at a high level too. I mean, the NBA draft next June is going to be littered with guys that are from the Big 12, with AJ Dybantsa, Darren Peterson, Kingston Flemings, Koa Pete, who's out tonight. But I mean, this is a loaded league, and it's been really fun to see. And I think that also it always just delivers entertaining, close games. I think what's going to be the key for a lot of these teams is, can they stay healthy enough to get ready for March Madness to make a run? Because teams like Florida seem like they're trending up and they're getting better as the season progresses, whereas some of these top-end Big 12 teams, they're kind of hitting the dog days of the season. They're getting pretty banged up.
It's impossible to write his story because we have not, seen the last 6 games, the Big 12 tournament or the NCAA tournament. But through the first, 3 quarters of AJ Dybantsa's career at BYU, what do you think kind of the reputation is? In my opinion, I think he's done exactly what's expected. I don't know if he's done more than expected. He's certainly not done less. So I don't know. How do you view him? How do you think BYU fans view him?
I think they view him as one of the best players to ever come through the program, no question. And I think that this team has battled a lot of injuries with Richie Saunders now and Dawson Baker back in November and Nate Pickens, 3 guys that were going to be, key rotation guys. I think that's limited maybe a little bit of the ceiling, but AJ shows up every night. I mean, really since the Utah game in the Huntsman Center where Alex Jensen really threw 2-3 guys at every possession at AJ, that's kind of been the blueprint for a lot of Big 12 teams, yet he's still getting his every single night. And the thing is that he's a very willing passer, and I think that he's kind of fit well with the locker room and the program. And, and I think that, as we know with BYU, its image and its perception matters a ton. And AJ has, I think, only added to feeling kind of like a BYU guy, if that's even possible for a guy that's so got such a bright future ahead in basketball. And his best years are still ahead of him in the game. But I think a really good job. And I think he's lived up every bit to the ounce of hype that he was receiving coming in. It's really going to be, maybe the legend status of what he does in March. And I still think this team can go on a run because, I don't think many teams in a matchup where they're not familiar with a BYU like these Big 12 teams are, they don't want to face an AJ Dybantsa and a Rob Wright, in a one-game setting. And, he's shown some ability to be clutch late in games too. The Colorado game, he missed that opportunity to hit a game winner. That was an air ball, and he's probably going to want to get better from that. But I think AJ has done a really good job this season, and he's always been available. The headaches that Kansas has gone through with Darren Peterson, that has not existed for AJ Dybantsa. He has always stepped onto the floor. I go back to the TCU game in January where he lands hard on his right shoulder, and, he clearly was visibly shaken up. He didn't leave, and the next game he had blue tape on his shoulder at Texas Tech. He still played. There was no question about it. And I think that is something, too, that I think a lot of people at BYU, their fans, can appreciate because, obviously it was a lot of money to get him to BYU, but he's always showing up. And there's no questions whether he's going to be on the floor or not. He's always going to show up and he's going to deliver. And it's just a matter of can he carry this BYU team even more now without Richie Saunders?
Do you think the amount of money spent on the roster, Ben and I kind of had an interesting discussion yesterday about money and expectations and whether they're related or not, but do you think that there's internal pressure on this team, Kevin Young, et cetera, because of the price tag of the team?
I think there's always pressure, and it comes with these college coaches, and I think there's definitely you want to make the most of this opportunity. You can't assume that you're always going to get a number one prospect, even though BYU's in the mix once again for another guy, and Bruce Branch, who could be maybe a top 2 NBA draft pick in 2027. BYU is squarely in the mix there for him. So this could be something that could be maybe a common thing for BYU, but you can never assume you're going to get this level of talent every single year. So you want to capitalize and get as far as possible. And, to get to an Elite Eight would be huge for BYU. They haven't got there since 81, but I think it's lived up to. I mean, it's BYU wants to be, a national player. They want to contend every single year, and the visibility, the ticket sales, the money that BYU has got. I mean, every game has been a sellout. I mean, every game at the Marriott Center, whether it's Abilene Christian or it's Arizona, it's been a sold-out crowd. Now, some of it's been late arriving. It's felt a little more, at times corporate in that lower bowl, but they're getting money. And in the secondary market, people are spending a lot of money to go to these games and see AJ Dybantsa. From a business standpoint, it's making a lot of sense. Now, again, you want to get to the a place where you've never been before as a program, but I think that it's definitely lived up to it. And Kevin Young, I mean, he's the perfect coach for BYU basketball, and he's super competitive. I think what's interesting about Kevin Young too, he's still learning the college game. I think he's going to learn some lessons from this year, whatever ends up being the outcome for this team, of how to construct rosters, how to do things differently. I think that he's someone that's willing to adjust quickly. I mean, he's not set on one certain style of play, one certain way of doing things. He'll adjust. And we've seen that from last year to this year. I mean, this is a different team stylistically than last year's squad. So I think that, BYU will always adapt to what the new climate is. And Kevin Young is going to want to have BYU in the conversation and be among the elites in the sport. Now, they got to go perform and get it done, but I think it's been an investment well spent, because BYU basketball has got more visibility than it's probably had ever. I mean, even in those Jimmer years that they celebrated last week, I was in the mountain. They were just they were this, phenomenon. Yes, Jimmer was, but like BYU as a program was not viewed in high regard. Like BYU is viewed as one of the big spenders and a program that's getting high-level prospects, and that's what you want. You want to be a factor to the NBA, and they did that with Yegor. They're going to have it with AJ, potentially with Richie Saunders and Rob Wright, and guys that are coming through the pipeline as well.
What does the BYU receiving core look like next year on the football field?
It's a big question mark. Without Parker Kingston, we'll see spring football practices start up on February 27th, but, you're going to look for players like a Nakua to take a big step forward going into his third year with the program, redshirt sophomore. He's going to be someone to watch. JoJo Phillips dealt with a shoulder injury. And, players like that have to take big leaps forward. I think Cody Hagan can replicate not necessarily the yardage, but the style of play that BYU ran with Parker Kingston. BYU's receiver unit, even when it was with Parker Kingston, you kind of had some questions about, is Parker Kingston really a number one receiver? Yes, he was the number one guy last year, but how much of that was a byproduct of what Chase Roberts opened up for him? Is Parker Kingston really a number one guy? I don't know if I necessarily thought that per se. I think that he was going to be a really impactful player and a key piece for this offense, and it's a big loss. But I didn't look at him as necessarily, a Puka Nakua, an Austin Collie when you think of NFL first number one wide receivers. But it's a lot of production, and he knew the offense inside and out. But BYU's got options. The wild card in the mix is going to be 6'6" receiver Tyler Casper from Oregon. He hasn't played in really at all at Oregon. 2 foot injuries, but if he can, they did their deep dive on the health report, the background check on him health-wise. They feel optimistic that he could be a player. He's a former, top 100 recruit, went to Oregon, was going to be in the mix at Oregon, but again, foot injuries derailed his playing time to where he really never touched the field. If he can stay healthy, he could be kind of the wild card in the group, but it's to be determined. I mean, honestly, with that receiver unit, there's intriguing talent. There's some talented freshmen with the Pula brother from Lone Peak, Legend Glasker from Lehigh, Terrence Sarion, a former Washington commit. There's options, but no one's proven, and that's going to be what they got to establish in spring ball.
Ben, what Winter Olympic sport do you think Mitch would be best at?
Biathlon.
Oh, the shooting and the cross-country
Skiing and shooting.
scene?
Well, Mitch is multi-talented.
I was going to say either figure skating or bobsled.
I can see Mitch being a bobsled. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Mitch, any thoughts?
Bobsled.
Okay.
That would be my
That's
my
your jam.
pick.
All right. as the break man? Or
Again, no, Mitch is big. Mitch is going to get you off that line. Mitch is strong. Mitch is way taller than anyone recognizes.
Right.
So,
Mitch,
jumpstart.
We appreciate you and all of your fine work. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch.
See you, buddy. There you go. Mitch Harper covers the Cougs for KSLSports.com.
Canada won.
I know.
Canada beat Czechia in overtime, 4-3. Mitch Marner with the big goal in OT.
Hey, I told you off the air, Slovakia wasn't very good. Apparently, they're in the semi-finals.
So we'll see. Do they reorganize this after the? Do they reseed this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they reseed for the Final Four, because I don't think necessarily the U.S. has to play Canada if they beat Sweden tonight.
Did you see that the Canadians got caught cheating in curling?
I did. Yeah, touching the rock. Did they get caught, or the Swedes just had some language?
Complained about it.
Yeah. Well, that's the best way to do it. Just complain about it. Nothing changes.
I bet the hockey team's cheating
you think so too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Ask Sam Presti.
Wasn't one of their Canadian? Wasn't that snowboarder who turned into a drug kingpin? Wasn't that guy Canadian?
He was.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Criminals.
Exactly. Cheering against them in every event.
Australia of North America, Canada. I've always said that.
Is Lindsey Vonn running drugs? I don't think so.
Her dog died the same day she was getting surgery on her leg.
Downer Ben.
They do it to me every time.
Thanks for that.
They do it to me every time. Yeah, her big dog died when she was getting surgery on her leg.
But not one of the
Talk about a kick in the shorts.
Not one of the world's biggest drug dealers.
Lindsey Vonn?
Yeah.
That we know of?
I'm going to say Shaun White. Don't think he's running drugs.
Saw Sean a couple of years ago, right on the corner, across the street from the Salt Palace, the convention center. He's just hanging out over there with a crew of people. Little guy, that flying tomato, that's a cherry tomato. That's not a Roma.
All right, what you got Wednesday?
A hot house.
Coming up next.
Little tiny guy.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
1, 2, 3, move it.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What you got Wednesday? What's the deal? Jake's got rules, Ben's out to steal. Bozo takes their spinning around. Flush it down, flush it down.
Jake and Ben. Want to remind you about our friends at University of Utah Health. For you, for life, University of Utah Health. Also, want to remind you to join Scotty G from noon to 3 at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown. Coming up today, 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Daly, home of the Forever Warranty. Time for What You Got Wednesday, where Ben and I go head-to-head in 2 5-selection drafts, one sports-related, one not. And then we put it out for a vote. Did you and Christian do it last week?
We did.
Last week, I did fill in best celebrity sports couples. That was a fun one. I won 60-40.
You did win. Jeez.
And then best rom-coms, Ben won that one 65-35.
Well, you led with 50 first dates, right? Was that your first?
I think so.
First pick? That was a terrible pick.
That is a bad pick.
That was a bad pick. Anyways.
Adam Sandler has never made a good movie.
I picked an Adam Sandler movie, so did you, but yeah. Bad first pick.
Even the ones you think warmly of from your youth were terrible.
Like Happy Gilmore is legitimately funny, and I picked, as rom-coms go, Punch Drunk Love. But sure.
Yeah, no, out on Punch Drunk Love. All right. Well, anyway, so that has no impact on today's draft. So who's drafting first?
Oh, we can still split it up. Yeah, what happened last week?
I won and then you won.
Okay, so that's what Jake gets. Because you got the first pick in both of the last two because I had won the two previous. That's fine.
Sorry, Jake.
It's not about Jake. It's about me.
So I'm confused.
So
I wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
Ben will pick first in the sports draft.
Great.
And Jake will pick first in the non-sports draft.
All right. Today's sports-related topic is?
Best Winter Olympic events.
Okay, Winter Olympic events. And Ben has the first pick. Is there an automatic first pick? Is there a no-brainer? I would say no.
I'm going to go hockey. It's actually not number 1 on my board, but I'm going to go hockey. I think it's giving me the most votes, and it's number 2 on my board. So,
now let me ask you this: do we have to differentiate between men and women? Because I'm going to take the downhill, and I don't really care if it's men's or women's. But do you? Have
I don't.
to...
No, I was not planning on it.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming I'm getting both men's and women's hockey.
Yeah, sure. All right, the downhill.
Downhill.
By far, my favorite Winter Olympic event is the downhill.
Yeah, I have watched very little of it. I just missed all of it.
Watching them scream down that hill is
crazy.
just crazy. And
Yeah.
I did not get to see it this year either because I was on a boat.
I didn't watch it. Okay, I will go with what I think is actually the best, because it's the same reason it's the best in the summer Olympic Games. It's the same thing, but I'm going to go with short track speed skating. I love the short track. I think it's really cool. It's super exciting. It's created some of the best races historically. So give me short track speed skating.
I'm going to take curling before it comes off the board because I do love curling. There are others that I like better, but I think I'm going to go with curling.
Okay. It's a good pick. It's gone. I'm going to erase it. I will go with one that we were just talking about, bizarrely watchable, the biathlon. There is something exciting about watching them. They have to shoot. They have to hit the target 5 times. You see guys getting rattled. When they get rattled, or women, they start to get rattled, and they can't hit the shot. And then you see everyone flying out of the gate after they stand back up and throw the gun on their shoulders. Weirdly watchable. The same way curling is. Very much just like a vibes sport, and I've got no problem with that.
I like the strategy of curling, actually. I think it makes it somewhat interesting. I'm going to go big air skiing.
Okay, I like big air skiing way more than big air snowboarding.
I totally agree. Big air skiing.
I think that's totally fair. I don't know why I think the big air looks better. I do not love the just like, let me spin as many times as humanly possible on a snowboard. Like, that's not, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's crazy. But like, oh, cool, you did an 1800 or a 2160 or whatever. It's just like, I can't even sense that. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't apply to me at all. So it's almost not worth watching to me. Good pick. I like the differentiation there. I will flip this, I guess, and I will go with snowboard halfpipe because I think skiing halfpipe looks so silly to me because they're always like one foot is always higher than the other because you have to take such a sharp turn. So aesthetically, I don't like watching it, but I do like snowboarding halfpipe. I think that's the best snowboarding event.
Let me see. I think I can get that one later. I'm going to go with the 4-man bobsled.
Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's the
pinnacle.
I think that's the pinnacle bobsled event
of that racetrack.
Right, because there's the single, the double, and then the 4-man. Right, so I'm going with the 4.
Is this my 5th pick, Christian? This is my last pick. All right, I'm going to go with one that doesn't get a lot of burn, but it is really fun, and I'm going to go with moguls. Moguls is cool. That's a crazy sport.
That's the one I thought I would get last, but it's actually called freestyle skiing.
Freestyle skiing, but yeah, because you mix in the big jump. I hate big air in skiing. And not the big air though you were talking about. I mean like the freestyle aerial skiing, and that's all it is. I hate how stiff they are. I hate the one hand up in the air, the full, double, full, or whatever the trick is that they all do. Nothing for me. But you're doing moguls, and then you go right into a huge jump. That's thrilling.
I wasn't sure if I would take this, but I am going to because it is actually the most popular sport at the Winter Olympics, and I'll say figure skating.
I hate the figure skating. It doesn't do anything for me. Even when we have a star that's American, doesn't do anything for me.
I watched the short program last night.
So did I.
I think it's absolutely entertaining.
I watched it, and I couldn't care for it at all. Even though I really like Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski. That's the best part. And if your announcer is the best part, you've got a bad sport. That's my take.
All right.
Overrated sports? What are the bad sports? Some sports that are secretly unwatchable. There's a couple out. I think the figure skating is. I know that's a very unpopular opinion. I don't know. There are some that don't really register for me.
What did we miss?
Ski jumping. Shout out to the crotch
you know what?
gate.
The long jump is not as good as you want it to be. They just go in a straight line and then they land, and it's like he looks like he was just as far as everybody else. That is a bad one. And if you can rig it by groin size, I have a real issue with it.
Which was a controversy. I think one of the
that shouldn't factor in my opinion.
I think one of the gnarliest sports, and it's not all that popular, so I didn't take it, but skeleton is wild. Whether you're doing the luge, but you're going head first and your chin is about an inch off the ice.
Skeleton was next on my board, as was big air skiing, but you picked that. Agreed. You know what? I don't like, what's the one where you lay on your back? Luge. I don't like them looking over their bellies. I don't like the angle. I don't like the look of it. It kind of makes me feel claustrophobic, but skeleton just feels cool. You're just going head first down that thing at 1,000 miles an hour.
All right. What is our not sports topic today?
Jake, you were on a Disney cruise last week, so we're going to go with best Disney characters.
All right.
There's a chance we've done this 2 or 3 times before. I don't remember. So
I don't think we've done Disney characters.
Definitely
we've
movies.
done Disney movies for sure.
Yeah.
Disney characters. I have the number 1 pick. Is there an automatic number 1 pick in your opinion? There is.
There is.
Oh. I'm going to go with the genie from Aladdin.
Okay. Not who I had, but a great character.
Robin Williams is just so incredible.
He was meant for that role. Will Smith was not meant for that role. You're not taking the Will Smith one.
No. I'm taking the Robin Williams. No, by the way, as just all of my selections are not going to be the live action crappy remakes. I promise you, I will not be selecting a live action crappy remake.
That's fair.
That will not happen.
Not Idris Elba in Jungle Book.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with the man who launched Disney, and I'm going to go with Mickey Mouse. I do think Mickey is classic, and he is kind of beloved because he has the ability to do whatever he wants. He's a little bit of a troublemaker.
Oh, boy.
But
I think the mouse is so overrated. And just because the mouse came first, everybody have you actually watched I'm sure you have, the old Disney cartoon shorts, like Chippendale, those cartoons. Mickey's are all so bad. They're
I like Mickey's
so
Christmas tree.
Bad.
I like Mickey Christmas tree.
All right. Yeah, you can have Mickey. That's fine. Old school character, I'm going to go with Goofy.
You want to know something I learned the other day? So speaking of winter sports, snowboarders, surfers, skateboarders, there's regular and there's goofy. That's which foot you put forward. It is actually named after Goofy, the cartoon character, because in an old surfing cartoon, they drew Goofy riding right foot forward instead of left foot forward. Wow. And the surfers just said, so you ride like Goofy, and that became you ride Goofy.
Yeah, how about that?
That's very strange to me, but yeah, Goofy's hilarious.
Hilarious.
And the wide world of sports, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Goofy rules. Good pick. I'm going to go more modern, and I will take Woody, who I think actually is kind of a modern reincarnation of Mickey Mouse. He's a little silly. He's a little more lacking in self-confidence than Mickey Mouse is, but he's kind of like even-keeled, beloved. So I like Woody.
All right. Let me think. Do I want to go new, old? You know what? I'll go traditional. Donald.
I was hoping I'd get him a little later.
Donald's hilarious. Always mad.
I do love that they were like, we need to have the George Costanza character. And they made him way before anybody. And he also scoops up like Scrooge McDuck, which is a great character.
Yeah, Donald, kind of the lovable loser.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
I love Donald. I'm with you.
It's a great pick. Goofy and Donald. A lot of birds, but pretty good. Goofy's a dog. Was I thinking? All right, I'm going to go with my favorite female character. I'm going to go with Belle. I do like that she wants more than what the world has given her, which is kind of the theme of all of them. Like Little Mermaid's the same thing. Jasmine's the same thing. But Belle, I think, does it best.
All right.
Bookworm.
I'm going to go with a villain because we haven't picked villains.
I think you're going to take my pick.
I'm going to take Ursula.
Oh, okay. I like Ursula.
Oh, Ursula is amazing.
Yeah. Real deal maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had those little eel things.
She's not an actual shark, but she's like a shark as far as the deals she makes. Takes advantage of vulnerable people. I will go with my favorite villain, and he is the funniest. And he is half genie, half Ursula, and it's Hades. It's so good.
James Woods.
James Woods is so funny in that role.
He is good in that role.
That's an amazing, amazing role that allows Hercules to work.
I feel like I have to take a princess. Moana.
Okay. I have one more pick. I'm going to go against my gut. Actually, I'm going to go with something that's more my gut than my favorite pick. And I'm going to go with a guy who I'm always happy to see show up, and that's Jiminy Cricket. I always like when Jiminy Cricket's there. He's kind of like the unspoken mascot of Disney, outside of Mickey being the face of Disney. Jiminy's like, he's like the MC of everything for some reason, and I don't know why. Every voiceover is Jiminy, and I'm always happy when he's there.
Well, he's the conscience.
He is the conscience,
And,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
right.
now that the mouse has no conscience, have you noticed that Jiminy's strangely not around anymore?
He's gone.
And honestly, I'm not a big Pinocchio fan.
No.
So I did not.
No, you're
consider-
right, and I don't really even think of him from that, even though that's his origin, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not really how I view him. But I get it, yeah. Ghost of Christmas Past.
Tinkerbell was up there for me. I
Tinkerbell's
didn't
up there,
think
yeah.
Tinker would. I didn't think Tink would get me any votes.
The
though.
female counterpart to Jiminy Cricket, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably old Tink. I think there are a lot of villains that we could have gone with.
I like Willie the Giant as far as niche characters.
Okay.
Just like big dumb guy.
I like Pete. If you want to go
Pete,
with
good big,
Pete's
good big bad guy.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Christian.
I like Mufasa.
Okay.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, could've
Jack
done male.
Sparrow
Jack
could have
Sparrow's
been a good one. Yeah. All right. Review.
Let's see. Jake, you had the number one pick. You went the Genie from Aladdin, Goofy, Donald Duck, Ursula, and Moana. Ben went Mickey Mouse, Woody from Toy Story, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Hades, and Jiminy Cricket.
Good characters.
I don't know if Jiminy's getting you any votes.
You don't think so?
No.
You know what? The Disney World people will like it because he's the voice of the fireworks show at Epcot Center at night, and he's like kind of part of the magic there. So it might get me some votes.
All right.
I think most people here go to Disneyland because it's much closer.
But it's no longer a stop on the Big 12 tour. So people are going to Orlando now.
I see. This see UCF play?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. A shockingly terrible airport. For a
MCO? Orlando?
Orlando, yeah. Having just flown in and out of there, considering that that whole town is built on tourism, shockingly bad airport.
Agreed. You
All right.
have to get on a train. You have to get on like the Airbus to get anywhere. You have to take a train. I'm with you.
And then I think we waited for an hour and a half for our luggage on a wonky conveyor belt thing that made no sense. Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you.
Surprisingly bad airport.
Yep.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll wrap up the show. We've got some funny sound. Funny kind of sound to play next. Stay tuned. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us?
Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airways, talking sports. They got him made drinks and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my. From the islands to the basketball courts.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, we're teaming up with Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at kslsports.com/contest. Listen every Thursday to JJ and Alex for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Want to remind you to join Scotty G and friends coming up on Friday at Kenny J's Barbecue from noon to 3. For the 60 in 60 ranking show. Kenny J's Barbecue, located 11610 District Drive, right there in South Jordan at the District. Super easy to find. Very tasty.
Yeah, very good.
Great place to do. I can't believe it's almost 60 in 60 time. All right, we have some sound to play, Ben. And I actually have not heard this yet.
Okay.
I've only heard of it.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty excited to hear what we've got going.
It's a new line. It's a new level of pathetic. So, yeah.
For one of our favorites,
Our favorite punching bags on the show.
Mick Cronin,
Yep.
who is an unhappy person.
Yeah.
It would,
He's not unhappy today. He's an unhappy person.
In general. Yeah, right. In fact, did they lose?
UCLA went to Michigan State and got smoked.
82-59.
Got smoked.
Got just creamed.
Yeah.
And so this is Mick Cronin interacting with a student reporter after the game.
I kind of can't tell how old this reporter is.
I've heard it from multiple sources. It's
Okay.
a student reporter.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
What was your thoughts in the student section chanting Booker's name?
I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section.
I just meant overall the way that you
I would like to give you kudos for the worst question I've ever been asked.
Did you like
You should take it.
the preparation of
You really think I care about the other team's
No, I don't.
student
I don't
section?
think you care about the other.
Are you raising your voice at me?
No, I'm just.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Come on, dude.
Not raising.
Come on. Yes, you are. Everybody's standing here listening to you. Everybody. This is on camera. They can hear you. I answered the question. I could give a rat's ass about the other team's student section. I coach UCLA. I don't care about Michigan State students. I mean, who cares?
Thoughts?
Man, is he an unpleasant person?
Well, he's so unpleasant. And he's such a bozo. I mean, that's somebody UCLA can't get rid of quick enough, in all honesty. And then to blame the student for raising his voice, or whoever the reporter was for raising his voice, when Mick was the one who kept the conversation going. Mick is the one who went back to it.
No, the guy said, I'll take it.
Yeah, the guy said,
I'll take it.
The guy said, and the guy didn't even say that initially. First he said, what did you think? And he said, I don't care about the student section. End of story. Then the guy says, kudos for the worst question. Then Mick Cronin says, kudos for the worst questions anyone asked me. Then, so Mick is then the one who has re-brought this up, who has turned this into an actual back and forth. And has kind of, not violated, but he's opened up this conversation that didn't need to be open if he didn't want to talk about it.
And I assure you that is not the worst question he's ever been asked. As somebody who's asked a zillion bad questions, you know what? It's your job to just answer. Answer. You know, when someone asked you a bad question, move on with your life.
And again, the reason this kid is asking the question is because this player at UCLA used to play at Michigan State and has transferred to UCLA. So, it's very pertinent. This is a player who has now played for both of your teams and has become a bit of the face of this, not even rivalry, but this matchup. So he gets asked about it. And then he follows it up by insulting the kid. And then basically puts the kid on defense. And then when the kid responds, Mick Cronin says, don't raise your voice. It's just, he sets a trap. It's such loser behavior from Mick Cronin. But Mick Cronin's a loser.
And so what if he did raise his voice, which he didn't, which is kind of funny. Right. But so what if he did?
Yeah.
Oh, how dare he?
Yeah.
The great Mick Cronin.
Yeah,
right. How
Who'll
dare
ever forget
he?
his 2 great years at Cincinnati.
And he did kind of give a smarmy, I'll take it. Okay, how dare he?
Yeah.
How dare he talk
he
back?
responded to your smarminess with his own.
Right.
You've earned it.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Mick.
But it once again reminded me of the Jim Boylan exchange with my friend Gordon Monson, which this was also a student reporter. Hit it.
Coach, you started that second half missing your first 12 shots. Explain how you were feeling during that run.
That's how I was feeling. How am I supposed to answer that? How would you be feeling?
What was the reason for the offensive inefficiency, Jim?
Ball didn't go in the hoop.
Why not?
Ball didn't go in the hoop.
Were you happy with the schemes?
Next question.
Coach,
Don't come here once every 2 years and ask those questions. I don't want to hear that from you.
I can ask the question.
Good. Ask. I'm not answering it. Don't come here once every 2 years. I don't want to hear that from you.
Break.
Yeah. I see you to show up.
Show some class.
That's great.
But that was Gordon defending his student reporter.
Yes, he was.
And you know what? How would you feel is not a great question. But you know what, Jim? You could have said, you know what? It's tough to struggle sometimes. Yep. Next question. I mean, it's like... and then go back and forth with Gordon, of all people, is so funny.
You're going to win that one.
I was sitting right next to him, too.
Oh, you were there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
No, I was sitting right next to Gordon.
Oh, that makes the story so much better.
Did you go more frequently?
What?
Or did you only go once every 2 years?
Oh, I have no idea. Probably once every 2 years. I don't know. It was a BYU-Utah game.
Okay.
And Utah had obviously just lost.
Oh, I didn't know you were at that game.
I was.
Oh,
I was sitting right next to Gordon.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Nice.
It was so funny. It was one of the most funny things I've ever been a part of
knowing
in person.
You, so one of the things that you're really funny at, that people won't realize this, is You will sit through a tense situation, and as soon as you leave that room or the door closes, you burst out laughing. You recognize it's funny in the moment, even if you don't escalate it the way Gordon and Boylan were escalating it with one another. And by the way, not Gordon's fault at all in that situation. But you recognize how funny it is immediately.
So funny.
So when the door closes, you laugh. So I know exactly how you responded the second either Jim left the room or you left the room with Gordon. I didn't know that was part of the story. That makes it that much better.
In fact, it was Brad Rock who broke the ice after it was all over, and I wish I knew what he would say, what he said, because the room was just silent.
Silent, I bet.
Boylan left the room, and the room was just silent. And then Brad Rock made a joke, and
well, Brad is truly the greatest person who's ever lived.
Oh yeah, didn't see Brad getting yelled at by Jim Boylan.
No.
So funny. But he was going at that student reporter. Jim was.
Yeah.
Like if Gordon
the same
didn't.
way Mick was.
Yeah, it's terrible. Hey, listen, I'm sure, Ben. After your not finest moment in life or whatever, and losing a basketball game, there are worse things. But I'm sure he wasn't pleased about it. You don't have to stand up in front of reporters and answer questions. I'm sure we would not like that either, But
like that.
That's your job. And you still have to treat people with dignity and respect.
No,
even if you are a shiny-headed bald man like Mick Cronin.
I would hope you use that power imbalance to try and even the playing field a little bit more and not to exploit it. And that's what losers do, is they exploit that power imbalance. And Mick Cronin does that because he's a loser. I wish I could say it nicer. He doesn't say it nicer.
No, he doesn't.
Everybody, this is on camera. They can hear you.
Yeah, we did.
We did hear it.
It didn't
Mick,
sound like he was really raising his voice.
What
Mick.
you're saying happened didn't happen, and nobody felt that way.
Toughest guy on this team is going to do radio.
He kicked his own player out for a hard foul yesterday night in a game, as if that was going to be more respectful. He just made a bad call. Kid didn't foul him that hard. Kicked his player out, and then he fouled a player against Michigan State. The Michigan player stands up and kind of gets in the kid's face. Michigan State player gets in his face. And the UCLA player is like, what? What are you going to do about it? Because they're all fake tough guys on the basketball court anyways. And Mick kicks his own player out of the game. Not respectfully, not out of I have a real dignity for the game, out of Mick being, watch me flex. That's what Mick loves.
It does kind of remind me of the way that Lloyd treats the staff.
Absolutely.
A little bit.
Loser behavior.
I'm kidding, Lloyd. Joking.
I like Lloyd.
I just got a dirty look from Salazar in there.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
Lloyd's been nothing but extremely good to me.
Stay tuned. Scotty G coming up next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.